Hi everybody, Nige back here again with another video for you. Today we're going to do an inbox review of Zvezda's, if I can get it all in, what is it in English, Mi-24V /VP attack helicopter, so the Hind, okay, or as it's affectionately known as the Crocodile. Now this is 148 flavour, okay. It looks like a really nice kit. I've had a quick look. I've not opened the packaging. I've just done that just now, ready for this video. So what we'll do, I'll put you onto the overhead and we'll get cracking. So we'll start with instructions. Okay, so this is all in black and white, apart from the colour call out, which is a separate sheet. And as you can see on the bottom, there's two versions. One with everything open, and one with everything closed. And obviously you can have either way if you wanted to. So you could have the engine covers on the front closed with the back panel open. You can have the canopy open and the side open, but the rest closed. All right, so again, it's your choice, so you'll be able to do what you want. So we start off with the sprue map. Okay, slowly we then move on to the actual build itself. So we start off with getting the two pilot figures together. Okay, well, armless pilot figures together. Then moving on to doing, what it's saying, putting these bits into the cockpit with some decals. Okay, and then putting the pilots in and this little panel here. We then move on to building, it's a bit confusing this. Okay, so that's another side panel that goes on this side. We've got that side panel that goes on that side to the rear bulkhead of the actual cockpit, which is the front bulkhead of the cargo area. And then we've gone into the, I believe this is the rotor motor, okay, for on the top of the aircraft just there. We then move on to the inside and we're starting to build the engine bay. So that's the top of the cargo compartment or the passenger compartment, which is also the top, the bottom, the floor of where the engine's going. So then you can see some bits and pieces going on, and then that all going together with part of the seat part and tubing. And then we've got the engines going on and getting built, and then the engines actually going into the housing where they're going to sit, and then the seats for the passenger area. We then move on to doing what looks like the hatches, so the doors and some of the panel parts. Okay, putting some over the bits and pieces on the inside and making some holes, cutting some bits out. Before we do that on both sides, and also you got version 1 and version 2. Okay, again, both sides being done. Then we come to closing up the actual fuselage and adding the chin part, which is this part just here, with bits that go on to the rear of the fuselage, and then we need to make some holes, and then the actual nose section goes together where the canopy is, putting it onto the vertical stabilizers, and then building the winglets. Okay, some winglets that go on the side and putting some of the undercarriage parts on, getting ready some of the pylons, and then actually adding the winglets to the aircraft. And then we start with the engine covers. So you can see the engine covers and the front part of the engine cover, and you can see you've got the two different versions and the different canopies for whether it's open or closed. Adding the wheels on there, and some of the weapons, so the loadouts. So you've got some rocket launchers. I don't know what these pods are. Either some fuel tanks or bombs. Again, I'm not 100% certain what they are. And there's a great big nose gun. Okay, again, there's two different versions. So you've got a flat type version and a domed type version. If you're having all open, all the bits, you know, the dangly bits, the pit tubes and stuff like that. And then these bits are, what's this bit? I'm not certain what that bit is. Oh, okay, got that bit there. Then we put all the actual other panels on, and then those bits actually go on to the outside. So again, you can have the different versions. Okay, so make sure you mark up which version you want, and then we come on to building the rotor head. So we've got the rotor head and the massive rotors going all together, the tail rotor, and then we have got the placement for all the stencils. Okay, with the versions 1 and 2. We then move on to the colour callouts. So start off with this one, decal 1 and decal 2. So this is version 1. Okay, then we have a version 2, version 3, version 4. Now, what I have found with this one, okay, this tail number yellow 05, is that it looks like two different greens there. But if you look at the colours, so we've got 30, okay, is it 30? Okay, we'll go down to 30, is light grey. And then 55, you can't see that, sorry about that, 30, okay, is light grey, okay, it's saying down there. And 55 is protective, wherever that is, okay. The belly colour's the right colour, okay. So be aware that one is, it says protective, but it's a green. I had to do a little bit of research for this, okay. So it's a grey-green colour. It's not this two-tone yellowy green, okay. Whereas this one is the yellowy green colour. All right. So the first one is the 262 Separate Helicopter Squadron Limited Contingent of Soviet Forces, Bagram Air Base, 1988. This one is a Czech Air Force one. Then we've got a Nothing Navy, Russian Navy Baltic Fleet one. And then we have a Russian Navy Baltic Fleet airdrome, Charles Falk airdrome 2019. Okay, I'll probably be doing that one because that one's back on maybe Afghanistan or somewhere like that from 1988, and so it would be dusty. It'd be you know, a little bit worse for wear. Well, that's my theory anyway, so that's probably the one I'm going to do. Right, onto the plastic, and we'll start off with the main fuselage. Okay, so got the main fuselage here, two really big sections, a lot of plastic. Okay, if we have a look at it, some really nice fine panel lining, but no rivet detail. Okay, and I don't know whether that's, as you can just see where that one just goes slightly past the panel. There's not one on that side. Okay, so I can't see whether that's right or wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong, the texture is lovely. There's some lovely, really thin panel lines. Okay, so they might need making deeper to be able to take a wash. Some of them, so this one, see how it's can be, is nice and sharp. But on this side, I don't know if you can just see it there. It's not so sharp. Okay, so it might just need a little bit of a helping hand. And inside we've got some of the ribs. We'll have to have a look at these. Maybe we're going to have to get rid of some of these injection parts, but you won't know until you've actually start assembling and have a look on the inside. So the next sprue out I've got is one of the weapon sprues. So we've got the rocket launchers, maybe fuel tanks or bombs, some pipes and stuff like that. The gun, the two guns on the front there, they will need, by looks for it, hollowing out. Okay, on both sets, which shouldn't be an issue. But again, some nice, there's raised detail, okay, on these fuel tanks, which they probably would be. Okay, you can just feel that the rails are so, but there's some nice recessed detail. Next up we have the winglets and the rotor blades. And the rotor blades, you're not going to be able to see this, but they are already bowed, they're curved, so with the weight going down, so as they should sit on correctly, so they'll sit and bow. Okay, the rotor heads, really nicely done. The main issue would be getting rid of any seam lines for the other part of the rotor head that will sit on that bit. Okay, so that rotor head would sit on that bit. Pilot details, okay, they've done the job, nothing to write home about. Again, no rivet detail whatsoever, but some nice other textures and some nice little bits and pieces all over. No flash to write home about. And then we're into the cargo area, the passenger area, roof, floor, one of the bulkheads, some of the wheels are two-part on both the main and the nose ones. Okay, a lot of small intricate little parts for the, for all the dangling bits, for the seats in the cargo area, the undercarriage and all that sort of stuff. Okay, and we've got the nose section and the gun, the chin section with a front wheel well. The cockpit is devoid of any sort of raised detail for any sort of dry brush. Okay, so it's going to have to be a decals or an aftermarket for that, because that nose glazing, you're going to need it. Okay, there's a lot of cockpit there. No seat belts for the seats. I don't even know where we get them on the decals. We'll have a look in a minute. Okay. And then we've got the engine parts. Okay, so all the engine parts, the rotor motor, the covers for the actual intakes. Okay, a lot of little bits and pieces. Okay, looks really nice. It's nice clean plastic. Don't know what that part is, but there's some nice detail on there. Might be, oh well, I don't know, part of the engine. Okay, so some nice detail. All right, we'll move on to the clear parts. So the clear parts come in their own Ziploc bag, and there we are. So it's a multi-part system. There is enough of a ridge, okay, just about to be able to mask those up yourself. But personally, I would look at getting a mask set for that. Okay, so as you can see, it's really, really clear. Okay, but potentially problems because it's a multi-part piece. And then that leaves us with the decals. So there's the 2 sheets, no plastic cover, no paper covering. So that's some of the stencils, looks okay. And then we've got the main colours, all in good register. The dials, so they're all the dials to use in the cockpit. I hope over here. We've then got the stars, and the ones on the later versions with a blue in bit in the middle are 2-part. So those bits would sit inside those stars. Again, the same with this bit here. These bits, I'm not even going to pronounce it, sit on these yellow bits. So it's, again, 2-part decals. So it would take some time. They feel quite thick, if I'm honest. Okay, they feel quite thick. Now, I think it's all right for the smaller ones, but these larger ones, if you can just see, there's actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, there's quite a bit of carrier film there. All right, which, end of the day, it's not a major issue, but it's something to be aware of. And you can't really see them, but these are probably for in the cockpit, in the cargo passenger areas. So that's the Zvezda Hind in 1/48. Now, the one thing I will say about this by looks straight, because I have seen pictures of it, is just a blown up version of their 1/72 kit. So that being said, he's got no detail in the cockpit, as you saw. It's all going to have to be decals, so you will need a set for that. It's got no seats, harnesses, so again, you'll need maybe something for that. It might come with the set. It's got not brilliant detail. All right, I have got coming to me the rivet set, okay, for the actual whole airframe, so hopefully that should then fetch it more to life. It's probably going to need a mask set for the canopy. I think that's going to be a little bit of a tricky one to actually mask up, because the frames aren't that pronounced, which is great. You know, it's really little frames, but again, it's something that you potentially would need. The instructions aren't that great. Okay, so you have to be really, really careful what you're doing when you're working through it, especially when it comes to the colour call-outs, because I was getting really confused when I was trying to find this, and then looking at equivalent and saying, well, that's grey, but it doesn't look grey on there. Okay, so that's something to be aware of, and you're going to have to keep an eye out. That being said, this is the only 1/48 Hind out on the market. There are, well, that's a, there's an old Revel monogram one, but again, that's an older kit. There's a 1/35 one by Trumpeter, and I know that's got quite a lot of detail in it and what have you. But for 1/48, because don't forget, this is going to be a really big helicopter for 1/48. It's a massive, massive helicopter. All right, I think they could have done better, but because it's the only one on the market, it's going to be well, not a game changer, but it's definitely you know, I won't say a world beater, but it's definitely going to be a really good kit to build, and it'll look really impressive once it's built, and it's got all the weapons on it with the rotors and all that sort of stuff. So I'm actually really looking forward to building this. I just might have to save up some more pennies before I start it to get a cockpit set. I'm not so much bothered about the cargo area, but I definitely want to get a cockpit, either photo etched or a resin, or those new Quintus Studio decal resin things. okay, to give those a go on this, because I think that will help fetch that cockpit really to life. All right. Anyway, that's the Hind all done and dusted. I hope you're well, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.